So Senku is now the Dr. Stone within this series. It's about time. It was cool that I was introduced because that's what the series is called. But ladies and gentlemen, let's jump into the episode. How's it going, guys? It is Flame. Welcome everyone back to a brand new video, and today, guys, I'm going to be talking about Dr. Stone episode 6, Two Nations of the Stone World. So let's start off with Senku right off the bat, just at the start of this episode right here. So of course we see that Senku passed, the one that awakened 6 months earlier before Taiju, and his plan now is to try to actually revive Taiju at this point, because we see the wear that this stone world is taking from Senku at this point. You know, it's starting to wear off on him, and he feels like that he won't survive unless he brings someone else into this world to help him out, because right now in his mind, of course, he wants to save civilization, but he just can't. Like, he has to start thinking of himself for just a little bit so that he can actually survive, but he needs another person to actually help him out with this plan of his. So we see that he actually digs out Taiju at this point and tries to figure out, why did he awaken before everyone else right here? Because his big plan and what he was thinking about was, did the stone just deteriorate? Like, was it because we've been living in the stone for over 3,000 years that maybe it just took a toll and it just crunched within his body and he was able to get free? But he was wondering himself in his mind of, why am I the only person awake? Like, we've all turned to stone at the exact same time, that maybe it will have effect on some other people. It shouldn't just be me. But we actually see a solution to that, which of course is the serum, the potion that we all know right now, the nitric acid from the bats within the cave. It was actually under Senku this whole entire time, and the process going throughout his brain. And I like in this episode because Senku actually mentioned Einstein, you know, E equals MC squared. You know, this was the formula that I actually used to help him get him out of the stone, because within the brain, and the science that we actually learned within this episode, is that the brain burns 400 calories a day, just kind of thinking. It has the processing power and etc. like that to help with the body. But since Senku has been counting this whole entire time, since of course he turned into stone, it actually helped him get out of the stone so much quicker than other people. That was the solution to all this. So he kind of uses that, you know, little power, and that's what we see him using actually his blood to have that, you know, kind of formula within, of course, his clothing, so that he can remember it and to revive his best friend Taiju right here. Which of course, you know, the formula with it was wine, it was alcohol, but Senku never had that at the time. You know, that was Taiju's idea before he came out, but he tried every single possible solution. You know, he grabbed bird by bird. We see why there were so many birds within his laboratory. It was just because he wanted to figure out this stuff to revive his best friend right here. That was his problem, that was his solution, and he was able to figure that out all together. But it was a really cool shot, because we had, of course, the Senku past, and we had Taiju as the present, you know, helping each other out at the exact same time, which was a really cool shot. You had Taiju trying to help Senku awake because he knew that he wasn't dead. He knew that civilization, once it gets back together, then of course Senku could be done. But at this point right now, he has a motive, he has a drive to get up. He can't go out like this. And that was the same point about Senku right here, is that he knows that Taiju loves Yuzu. That was his motive and his passion. So at the exact same together, when they had that appearance, I thought it was a really cool and emotional moment, and that's definitely friendship 100% right there. You know, to help each other out, even if you're turning into stone, basically give one another, of course, hope and power, and that's what happened right there. And now we see Senku awaken in the present, which it's to be expected, right? We're on episode 6. It was confirmed 24 episodes. There's over 100 chapters in the manga. I talked about this in my last review, that, you know, Senku is the main character of Dr. Stone. There's no way that he's gonna go out like that. You know, if he got out, man, Taiju and Yuzu and them would be screwed. Like, there's no way Senku would die at this point. Civilization was still in the stone right here. But after we see Senku wake up, they actually have a really big advantage against Tsukasa right here, because Tsukasa thinks that Senku is dead, right? He thinks that now he has the power to basically rule over everything. We all know what Tsukasa wants as his objective, so Senku is trying to stop that. So he thinks of a plan right here that, hey, to defeat Tsukasa, you know, we have an edge. We have a plan that he thinks I'm dead, so I could do a little bit of recon and recruit other people, because he knows that there's other people out there due to, of course, the fires that happened 2 episodes back, and of course of that blonde girl that was hinted to us there as well, that there's more people out here. So if we recruit them before Tsukasa, we're able to beat him, because we all know about Tsukasa's powers. This guy punched a lion, for crying out loud, and killed it. We know how strong this individual is, so we need the scientific power. We need to bring, of course, course, better technology within this world and more people to defeat Tsukasa and, of course, his army that he's going to build in the future. So it's basically just a huge army that's going to collide, and whoever wins will actually bring back civilization. Other army that's going to, of course, just still stay in this world, but Tsukasa is going to be the god of it. He's going to be the one powering everything. You could say he's going to be the president, for example, the one that has so much power that no one will be able to stop him, so they have to stop him right now and to recruit other people. This really makes sense right here of what Senku wants Yuzu and Taiji to do. This kind of clarifies of the picture that Crunchyroll or Dr. Stone provided for all of us, that Senku is with all these other people. But how come, why aren't Taiju and Yuzu here at the exact same time? Did they die? What happened to them? And it explains clearly that he wants Yuzu and Taiju to do recon. He wants them to be spies of if Tsukasa is coming up with a huge plan, if he builds an army, he has to tell Senku right away. And with Senku, on the other hand, he wants to try to recruit members so that he could use this army of his to defeat Tsukasa and bring back civilization at that point. But here, this is the big thing though that I want to talk about within this review, because we have more characters now introduced within this anime. We see this blonde girl that was teased 2 episodes back going towards Tsukasa, and her name was Kohoko, if I'm saying it correctly. So we get Kohoko, a brand new girl, and I guess you could say a brand new waifu. I know a lot of people are going to be joking about that, but yeah, we see her power go up against Tsukasa, which Tsukasa is just OP, man. I don't think that there's anyone that's going to win against Tsukasa in hand-to-hand combat, especially if you're using weapons as well, because, you know, Kohoko is mad at Tsukasa because this whole entire time she saw that battle between them. She saw him kill Senku. Well, she thought that she did. So we see, like, at this point that if Senku actually sees Kohoko and that she's still alive, that's a new recruit right there. That's basically a new member of his army to actually defeat this individual. But Tsukasa, man, he's just OP. He needs to find, of course, the solution before Taiju and Yuzu, so that he, of course, he could resurrect these young people and to build his army. That's his objective, and that's what he wants to do at the exact same time. But I thought that, you know, Kohoko might have a different strength, because looking at her character, like, she's so mysterious. We don't know. I thought she might have been OP. But I'll definitely say, though, throughout Dr. Stone, that when we see, of course, more characters within this series, they're gonna have a lot of abilities. Like maybe someone's good with the shield. You know, she was really, of course, good with martial arts and also good with handling knives as well, which was a really cool stance, man. I definitely kind of like her personality and as a character, and definitely OP. Like, I wouldn't really say OP as strong as Tsukasa, but I feel like she can carry her weight. But no one can just defeat him at this point, man. The guy is literally like a god. Like, I don't know if this guy has superpowers or whatever, but you definitely give her benefit, and definitely really cool character development of her at the exact same time. But as Tsukasa literally just breaks a tree and puts it right onto her so that she can't breathe, and eventually that she will die. But a good and mysterious point of Dr. Stone, which it was confirmed within this episode, and it's also, of course, in the title as well, the 2 nations of the stone world, is that there actually is 2 nations. There's the older generation that turned to stone, so 2019 era. If we went, of course, 3,000 years into the future and we wake up right now, that's, of course, the old generation. But the new generation, from what Kohoko is from, is that she was actually born within this stone world. It's been confirmed about that, which also confirms the possibility that, of course, other people or humanity is bringing back slowly together. It's like this generation of humanity is gone. Let's rebuild it here yet again, and that was Kohoko and her family's perspective of that. So it's going to be really interesting. So we're going to see, of course, all the other old characters that we've seen, like in images or within the opening. They actually might be part of, you know, Kohoko, and actually be part of the new generation that was part of the stone world right here, which is really interesting, man. I cannot wait for that to describe more detail. I feel like maybe next episode or the episode about that, we're going to get Kohoko's past and actually see a new generation form within humans right here, which that's going to be pretty awesome, man. Like, you know, it's not going to be like combat or anything like that. I think it's going to be really storytelling, and it's going to be an incredible moment within Dr. Stone. And of course, the last part within this episode, we see Senku and Kohoko meet each other at the exact same time. And I've seen a lot of comments and a lot of people like looking at this saying, why did Senku waste all this time? Like, he could have just dug the whole entire time, like dig under the tree and just pull her out. But that's the problem with Senku. He doesn't have the manpower like Tsukasa or like Taiju. And plus, those are rocks and stones and really hard material right underneath her. There's no way that Senku will be able to do that. So of course he uses science to help get her out, which is really cool, by the way. I could definitely Senku props right here that he literally uses a lever mechanism to help lift up the tree and get Kohoko out of there, which, by the way, man, you can say that he's Kohoko really states that she is fallen for him. Not really like fallen for love, but like definitely fallen for like a comrade. Like she could trust Senku 100%. So first member there confirmed, and you can definitely tell that Kohoko is with other people. So if she likes Senku and she brings back to him, he basically already has an army there already getting ready to verse against Tsukasa and his for the fight of civilization. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that was episode 6 of Dr. Stone, Two Nations of the Stone World. If you guys all enjoyed my review right here, make sure, of course, to leave a like, comment down below what are your guys' thoughts and opinions of this episode, and of course, subscribe to the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. But either way, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we'll see you guys next week for a brand new episode of Dr. Stone. Much love, and as always, have yourselves a wonderful day.